Okay, thank you. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice Speaker, Board of Chancellors, Council Steering Committee, counselors and friends, it is my pleasure to present to you the Young and Early Career Physician Section 2016 YPS Annual Report. Before I dive into the activities of the YPS this year, I first want to thank the people that got us to where we are today. Starting with our chairs that we've had in the past. Our first one was Dr. Arun Krishnaraj, who served from 2012 to 2013. Dr. Charles Bauckley, who served from 2013 to 2014. And Dr. Vanessa Weir, who served from 2014 to 2015. I also want to thank the great leadership we have here at the college. This year I was appointed in a position to serve on the Council Steering Committee, which gave me an opportunity to see how the BOC and CSC work, and it was such a great experience. I really think the college is in very good hands. CSC, thank you as well. Also, I want to thank Dr. Dave Kushner. He has served as a mentor for the YPS Executive Committee for as long as I've served on it, and he's just been an excellent resource. And this is our YPS Executive Committee for this year. That's myself, Jennifer Nathan, as chair. Falgun Chokshi as vice chair. Communications officer was Sonia Gupta. Health policy officer was Andrew Rosenkrantz. RADPAC liaison was Madeline Lewis. RFS liaison was Taj Katapuram. And IT officer was Sendel Sharon. This was our great committee we had this year. And last but not least, I want to thank our great ACR staff. Dan Green and Lauren Alfaro shared responsibilities of our managing the YPS Executive Committee this year, so I want to thank them as well. Okay, so the Young and Early Career Physician section, or also known as YPS, it represents members who are within 8 years of completing training or under the age of 40. We represent about 5,500 members of the ACR. We have one council steering committee position, which is the chair sits on that seat. We have 2 council positions, which are the chair and the vice chair. And we're led by a 7-member executive committee group. So the focus of the YPS, we're primarily focused on providing resources for establishing and growing your career, which would entail networking, maintenance of certification, professional and leadership development. We're also concerned about overcoming challenges between work and life balance. Many of us are just starting families, just starting with our new jobs, so we're trying to balance all these things. We're also wanting to get involved with directing the future of our profession by being involved with the ACR. We also want to have opportunities where we can establish a professional network. Our goals as a YPS section is to attract and retain members. I think that's probably our number one. We want to increase our membership. We want to facilitate YPS involvement within the college and ultimately foster future leaders for the ACR. So some of the activities that we did this year, this was something I worked pretty hard on. I really wanted to provide dedicated programming for the YPS. I wanted us to have kind of our own niche at the ACR annual meeting. And we had our programming this morning from 8 to noon, and it was nearly a full house. I was really excited. The programming was 2 sessions. The first one is how to succeed in your practice, and the second was how to be a successful radiologist. Featuring key topics on leadership, mentorship, medical malpractice. I had a malpractice attorney who lectured us. Economics, advocacy, and how to evaluate a job contract. So these are all topics that are interesting to YPS. We had just really top-notch people presenting to us as well. I had Dr. Larry Murhoff, Frank Lexa, Jacqueline Bello, Andrew Wu, just to name a few, but they were all stars, really. The programming, we also were able to get 3.5 hours of CME credit and 3.5 hours of RLI credits. This is great for us for our maintenance of certification. Also, I wanted to get more YPS at the meeting, so I hosted a webinar with Andy Moriarty, and we basically present a PowerPoint, and any YPS that attended our webinar, which was probably only 20, 30 minutes long, would receive $200 off of the registration fee. So I thought a discount might attract people to come to the annual meeting. Also, something new that we're doing this year at the annual meeting is a YPS reception with ACR leadership. I really wanted the YPS to have a social opportunity to interact with their colleagues, as well as an opportunity to be able to ask questions of leadership on how to maybe become a future leader in the college. So that's going to happen on Monday, tomorrow, from 5 to 6 p.m. in Washington, room 4. So another development that's going to happen this year at the meeting is resolution number 42B, and I think this is really a great thing for the YPS. This is an amendment which was submitted and is sponsored by both the BOC and CSC in response to the strategic plan, which calls for renewed focus on retaining and increasing membership of YPS members. Another activity we worked on this year is Engage. For some of you who may not have heard of Engage, it's basically a pilot program that we did this year, which is to serve as a networking platform between membership within the college. And they selected 4 communities to test this out on. And I'm proud to say that the YPS was one of those communities selected. We continued on with some of our prior activities, which are a quarterly electronic newsletter, where every 3 to 4 months we have articles which are usually written by a YPS, or they're written by staff about issues that are important to YPS. We also maintained our YPS column in the JCR, so we do produce articles in the JCR as well. I also added the JCR podcast to our YPS webpage. The podcasts are really great, and they address all different kinds of educational, legislative issues. So I thought it'd be good for the YPS to see that on their webpage to be able to get access to it. Another thing that I worked on too is I created a resource webpage on our website for the YPS. And I basically went online, I looked up all kinds of articles that I thought would be information that would be important to the YPS, like how to manage your mortgage, how to deal with a lawsuit, things like that. So I thought it'd be an easy way to access some information for the YPS. Another thing that I did this year, the executive committee myself, is we did something called YPAC outreach. So each state chapter is allotted a alternate counselor position, or YPAC, Young Physician Alternate Counselor, and the ACR provides a $1,000 stipend to the state chapter to give to the YPAC to attend the ACR annual meeting. So I thought this is really, it's free money. It's a great way to get YPS to the meeting. But what I found was that 26 chapters were not using this. So basically, I assigned each executive committee member between 4 to 5 state chapters, and they were to reach out to them, send them an email to encourage them to utilize the YPAC position. And we were able to have an increase in 31% in participation of state chapters to utilize this. Another activity that we worked on this year was fostering future leaders by integrating YPS in committees and commissions. And I did find that about 90% of our committees and commissions do have a YPS, but I wanted to make sure that we maintain that, if not increase involvement. So what we did, we ran a survey, which we're publishing in the JCR. Andrew Rosenkrantz spearheaded this survey. And basically, it was a survey that went out to YPS that are currently on committees and commissions. And we asked them different kinds of questions, like, were you prepared for that committee? Do you feel like you're missing out on something? How can we keep you involved on it? And we basically took all the data, analyzed it, and we're going to be putting it out in the JCR. But I think some of the take-home points that we got from this is that some YPS felt that they weren't really sure what they should be doing on a committee, that maybe something like a welcome packet, which stating their roles and obligations and what's expected on the committee would be helpful, or perhaps assigning a mentor. When I served on the CSC this year, I was assigned a mentor, and I thought that was just a really great experience. Mentor and I talked prior to my participation on the CSC, and they really acclimated me to the committee and showed me the ropes. So I thought maybe we could potentially copy that for the YPS as well. And RLI, so the Radiology Leadership Institute is a really great program, and they offer all these great lectures, more business-minded, but they can be a little pricey. So I worked with RLI on getting some reduction of cost for the YPS. And I was able to get 2 full scholarships to attend the Harvard Emerging Leaders Seminar. And I was also able to get a $1,000 discount for any YPS that wants to attend the summit meeting coming up in the fall. So I thought this is a great way for the YPS to be able to get some reduction, the cost to be able to attend these meetings. And RADPAC, so we again participated in the Ratoberfest YPS Challenge, and basically states compete in divisions based on chapter size. Winning is based on number of contributors per state, not actual amount contributed. Individuals making a contribution of at least $30 are eligible to win one of 4 $100 Amazon gift cards. Each state chapter that wins will receive a contribution of $200 from RADPAC. And this year, YPS number of donors and amount contributed both increased from last year. I just threw some numbers up here. So 2014, we had about 258,000 contributors, and in 2015, amount is 258,000 amount contributed. And in 2015, we had 264,000 contributed. So we had an increase in the amount. A journal club, and this is something that's still in the works, but one of the ideas I had is to have the person who wrote a JCR article moderate a journal club for the YPS. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to get CME credit. and also to be able to ask questions of the author who submitted this article that you're interested in. So we did submit that for approval, and we're still waiting to hear back about that. And this would be kind of in a webinar format that you could either tweet or type in questions for the person who wrote the article. Another idea that I had, which I think maybe we can initiate this in the future, is to have a potential YPS representative leadership position on a state chapter level. And I've heard that there are some state chapters that are doing this, but I don't think that all of them are, but I think it might be something to explore to have a YPS rep who maybe their goal could be to recruit their fellow YPS in their state to attend state meetings and ultimately the ACR annual meeting. And that concludes my report. Thank you very much.